Yeah, I think fundraising is a topic that's really critical to touch on because it's extremely important for anybody that's, launching a business, especially anybody who wants to grow and scale a business, and anybody in our space on the hardware side, because, manufacturing is notoriously capital intensive. And I luckily come from a long line of entrepreneurs in the manufacturing space. It's in the industrial steam heating business. So, nothing sexy, a lot of boiler rooms, but it's a place where I got my start. And so I've learned, what makes, efficiency from the building side as well as the sales side. And when you combine those two, you can really come up with a special product that meets the needs of industry, and industry volumes are notoriously a lot larger than the consumer volumes, at least at the start. And if you can win those contracts and progress from pilot project to concept to uh, full production, you create a new category of products. And that's really where we think we're headed. I think most devices will be powered or charged wirelessly in the future because it's 2024, and to have exposed the outlets just feels kind of latent in our current environment. And so, they're taking a lot of steps to go there with phone chargers in some of the areas that I've talked about. And induction cooktops are already, on the market and doing well. And so combining the two seems like a natural fit for the marketplace.
Entrepreneurs, we are back on Sunday, which means it must be an incubator bonus episode. I'm excited to get Andrew on the show. Another company that came through the program, absolutely thriving right now. And I love the motivation before the show. I got to hear for probably the title. He's focused on getting inside every household. But for today, we're going to focus on the steps you need to take to get there. We can't just focus on that end goal. There's a lot that happens in between. Other cool stuff we talked about, and you'll learn about too. New product launch, some fundraising we can learn just a little bit about. We can't learn all the behind the scenes, but we're going to learn a lot. Thanks for taking some time to join that entrepreneur show.
Thank you, Vincent. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be on the incubator special. The incubator has a very special place in my heart. A lot of great people there. I don't want to do the whole shout outs. There's too many to count, but I'll do a couple that were there when I was there. I know the staff is always working hard, but Josh Ray, staple in our business, Bird Scyther, Dr. White, Dr. K, just the whole team, really, Dean, obviously, just people that make a difference for a business and really know how to make a thriving one at that.
I love how you're starting out the show very humbly, giving the shout outs. And I have to second that. Everyone you shared and everybody else in that building is truly inspirational and helps in so many ways. Bert and Josh, those were our main point of contacts in the program, of course, with Josh running our specific program, which just ended. We have 10 days to clear out our stuff out of the program. So I'm back here in St. Pete working from home, and that's okay. I met so many great people along the way. If you want to check out some more of what happened in that program a few Sundays ago when this is live, I have the new Venture Expo that went live. You'll hear from people who are not getting solo episodes, who just stop by the booth. You'll get inspired there too. But for today, it's all things Andrew. And for his company, Kitchenery, leads the enterprise development efforts in realms of sales, fundraising, and investor relations. Which of those areas do you like working in the most?
Definitely sales. I mean, sales is something new every single day, but I would say they're all realms of sales in some way. So, marketing is just sales for introverts, as they say. Um, Investor relations is really just selling the company versus selling the product. So they're all really adjacent. But, sales is my background. It's my passion. It's something that, I've done for a long time now. I was a little older in the incubator program. I wasn't going through college at the time, but that's the beauty of the program. It's all for the community. It's not just for UT students. And my co-founder and CEO, Akshay, was a student there. He got his master's in entrepreneurship while going through the Spartan Incubator program. But Other than that, I don't have an affiliation with UT. I might get some education in the future, so leave that door open for sure. But overall, sales is what drives everything. I always say my job is to be head cheerleader. Like, I have to keep the team motivated, and an easy way to do that is get sales. Sales cures all. So when there's money coming in, everybody's happy.
I love that. I put it in the notes when we go live, how to keep your team motivated. That is extremely important. Now that my team is growing, I'm learning the ins and outs of doing that. It's easy and to have 3 people maybe, but now that we're getting to 10, there's just a lot more going on. I know your company, you started in the incubator program, the two of you. Now you're a little bit bigger, you're making a lot more noise. Can we talk a little bit about the growth you've had? Maybe if there's any growing pains you had?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, leaving the program was a big step. You don't have people checking in on you every day. That's a big thing, and you don't realize that until you have your own space. So we ended up working in the co-working space downtown at WeWork, and not all of our team is based in Tampa. So, 90% of it is, but we have some guys in Orlando and then some guys overseas, and some gals for that matter. But it was tough. We worked on some hybrid and remote scenarios, definitely given our lean budget, but we're making it work, and our core team has grown to 5 now with
Incredible.
contractors of between 5 and 15 to 20 at any given point.
That's incredible. Congrats on the early success and now the continued success. You just mentioned WeWork. Let's talk about some of these programs for people listening on who maybe are interested in joining, whether it's an incubator, whether it's a WeWork co-work space.
Absolutely. So the Tampa, innovation ecosystem is something that, I've seen grow in my few short years here, but I know has grown a lot in the last, 10 to 15 years, spearheaded by efforts like the UT Incubator and Dr. White, but also, Embark Collective, Tampa Bay Wave, the USF Knoll Center for Entrepreneurship. There's the Tampa Bay Innovation Center over in St. Pete, the St. Pete campus. I actually was just at USF St. Pete for Techstars weekend. They
That's right
had
over there. Yeah, it's a couple blocks
yeah,
that way.
yeah. It was a fantastic facility. So, to be in Tampa, there's a lot of different outlets and a lot of different ways to get involved, whether that's volunteering, whether you want to start a company, whether you want to get involved with a startup. It's really grown a lot. I don't know if you know this, but there was an article I think that came out in the journal probably 6 months ago now. Tampa holds 25% of all tech jobs in the state of Florida. So
Did not
we're
know
really,
that. I knew we had a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
25%.
So and don't get me wrong, it's anchored and spearheaded by big organizations like Know Before and ReliaQuest and ConnectWise. But the startup scene has grown a lot, and it's grown a lot with the help of some really dedicated professionals.
And all of these community programs, you just have CEOs who have made it, right? Reached success and they're just giving back their time. Not every program is free, they all have different costs, but just the value I found in being in the incubator, and then you go around the bend and which CEOs are going to be there. Develop very strong relationships with some of them. Some of them have even come on the podcast, but you're getting just that no sugar-coated answer of what you need to do to move forward. And I think that's the most
Absolutely.
valuable. So many people they just want to be nice and they give you certain, oh, it sounds good, looks good, this, that. Well, this part may be good, but this isn't. How do you make that little switch? And I went in that program, still working hospitality a night or two a week, doing all of these side jobs, not really focused, still trying to just do school speaking. Now, with a team of almost 10 in my podcast production company, that switch of leveraging and leaning into things that I wanted, that I loved, and that I'm good at, from having that support. You mentioned being in there, that accountability, someone checking up on you every day. To get in those programs, you don't have the means. Any mentor will do. Having someone to bounce something off, bounce ideas off of, really
Absolutely.
helps. I learned that what sounds good to me does not sound good to everybody else in some situations. I dropped the ball a few times, but you have to try and put yourself out there. Something he knows all about. I mentioned they have a new product launch. A lot of trial and error went into finally putting that final piece together.
Absolutely.
That's what I was alluding to. Let's talk about the process of not just building the product, but narrowing it down, like making this product a choice that you're moving forward with?
Yeah, so from a go-to-market perspective, you have to employ the best in the world, or you have extreme gross negligence. And I mean that sincerely, because when you're launching a new innovative tech product, a lot of them miss. I mean, we've seen a lot of brands come and go. We've seen a lot of Kickstarter launches and failures. And the new product or new device space has gotten sort of especially in consumer, has gotten a really tough rep, especially with the competition with a lot of the giants. So you have to take very careful steps to not only protect your brand image, your brand identity, but you have to curate the look, feel, and humanization of the device itself. So that goes into a lot of rapid prototyping, 3D printers, and employing some advanced technology to really use it yourself, talk to your friends about it, have a conversation with while it's running, so you feel the decibel levels, just little things like that
Great
corner
advice.
cases keep popping out as you continue to use and improve the product.
I love that advice right there. And it just shows the persistence and resilience you need in entrepreneurship. Now, you also mentioned something that you couldn't really talk about, and that's fine. But what I would like to talk about is the steps you took to prepare to get to that point for anybody else who's in those shoes.
Absolutely. So one of the places I spearhead our efforts is in B2B partnerships. And that doesn't mean necessarily customers. Yes, that includes customers first and foremost, but also strategic channels. So distributors, fulfillment, inventory, logistics, manufacturing. You need to be able to fulfill all of these needs and do it seamlessly and quickly if you're going to be considered a serious business. And so to form the places and spaces that you're going to be a part of early is very critical. And so that's why we took steps to find our target markets early, and we did so with extensive research from the consumers we think are going to be buying. And so we chose the RV, the marine, the aviation markets as our target three, and that was due to space saving, storability, and energy efficiency concerns. And so
Okay.
if we can solve those three problems, we're creating a win-win for the customer. When you align your business needs and values with the values of your customer, you create a scenario where they win on your sale too. So they're going to get to charge their end customer, for this upgrade and allow them the optionality of the cordless RV kitchen of the future. And we chose our appliances based on research of the three most common and then the two most in demand. And so we took it a step further and thought to ourselves, well, considering the quantum energy pad is a brand new device, and I'm not shy in saying that it is a luxury device to start, but will eventually get to the mass market. We're taking a sort of standard manufacturing approach that you release it in the luxury markets first, and then as supply chain and volumes develop, then you bring it down to the mass market. And so we are releasing the kettle first and foremost because we actually have some IP that we're about to file around harnessing electricity with induction waves. And so, which will be filed probably by the time this drops. And so, great news there. But we've done a lot of engineering to allow it to work on standard induction cooktops. So it's an entry point into the marketplace. And then this fall, we come out with the quantum energy pad and the silent blender. And then people are really amazed with our technology. We have brand loyalists, and that's when we continue to launch the toaster, the air fryer, and the electric pressure cooker.
I'm excited for you. That's got a lot in the works. Everyone out there, you see all the planning that goes involved. They're already planning 3 releases ahead of what they got going on right now, building that customer loyalty. I mean, you're on fire with the show notes. I've typed up more than usual, but all of these areas you're touching on are staples from the program, building the foundation, some things that I might have skipped over before I even entered the program. Love everything what we're seeing here. What else did we not talk about your company that you want to shed some light on now?
Yeah, I think fundraising is a topic that's really critical to touch on because it's extremely important for anybody that's launching a business, especially anybody who wants to grow and scale a business. and anybody in our space on the hardware side, because manufacturing is notoriously capital intensive. And I luckily come from a long line of entrepreneurs in the manufacturing space. It's in the industrial steam heating business. So, nothing sexy, a lot of boiler rooms, but it's a place where I got my start. And so I've learned, what makes, efficiency from the building side as well as the sales side. And when you combine those two, you can really come up with a special product that meets the needs of industry, and industry volumes are notoriously a lot larger than the consumer volumes, at least at the start. And if you can win those contracts and progress from pilot project to concept to uh, full production, you create a new category of products. And that's really where we think we're headed. I think most devices will be powered or charged wirelessly in the future because it's 2024, and to have exposed outlets just feels kind of latent in our current environment. And so, they're taking a lot of steps to go there with phone chargers in some of the areas that I've talked about. And induction cooktops are already, on the market and doing well. And so combining the two seems like a natural fit for the marketplace.
I think you're absolutely right, and you and your team are certainly on the right track. Before we get his contact info, we learn the website, all those things. If you could sit down with any entrepreneur throughout history, Andrew, someone you have not met, could be dead or alive, whose brain would you choose to pick?
I've been wanting to will this one of the universe, so maybe this is the platform to do it. Yeah, I'd really like to sit down with Elon. I think that would be fantastic. Uh, because, as I said, fundraising is important to touch on, and to add to what I said earlier, you have to be a serious person and have all your I's dotted and T's crossed to get in the room with serious people. And he's the king of fundraising in a lot of ways.
Yep.
Now maybe Sam Holtman, but Elon was obviously in the hardware space and sort of an icon in my era growing up. And so I think that would be a validation of our efforts, because they actually have induction cooktops in the Cybertrucks coming out. And so to make that a hybrid induction cooktop, I think would be just a huge, moral W for me and the team.
Couldn't agree with you more. Where would this meeting go down if you could pick the location to?
On Elon's yacht, right? I don't even know if he has one, or maybe at Starbase. I've never been. I've wanted to go. I've been to South Padre Island, but it was still in construction at the time. So yeah, I mean wherever, whenever, right? I mean if he's calling, you're showing up. I don't know what the scenario is, but that's not a Zoom call I'm missing, or a flight I'm not catching. So yeah, whatever he wants to do, I'm just I'll send just let him send the Calendly link, right?
I can't argue with the choice. Thanks for delving deeper into that. And thank you so much for taking the time to join our community of entrepreneurs. Now, for everyone tuning in, where can we find you online? Where can we find more about your company?
Absolutely. So, Kitchenery on every platform. You can look us up, follow whatever you want. This is a part of the show where I always feel a little bit uncomfortable because I viciously unsubscribe. That's sort of my philosophy to stay focused.
Yeah.
And so I always think if I do a good job enough marketing, you'll hear about us. And so it's an honor to come on platforms like this, who I know have big followings and big communities. And that's what, again, things like the incubator or things like the other programs I mentioned bring to your business. And when you can sort of put all the parts that aren't your zone of genius on automation, you can stay focused on what you do best and allow those parts of your business to grow naturally.
Couldn't say it better. And as far as social media goes, it's always been one of my weaknesses. I put on 25-minute timers, probably a little over 2 years now. And it sounds silly. You'd obviously can override it, but you build up that discipline of not overriding it. And for me, I post, if I'm doing the posting for the day, I post, like everything on the timeline, I hop off. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, especially as someone who was just a solopreneur less than a year ago. I can't really do that during the day, especially at all. I do my best to stay focused, as I know you do, with that same advice. So thank you for sharing that. Everyone, be sure to go check out all this their company does. They're up to big things, as you got very previewed versions of, but by the time the show comes out, You check them out. All that info will be live. The show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all podcast platforms, all social media platforms, and I am at Vincent A. Lancy on the same. Be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube so you can check out the video version of this show when we go live. With that, we are signing off today, both of us in the Tampa area. Andrew, thanks so much again.
Yes, sir.